Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gather round for a tale that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the animal kingdom. I'm your host, Zany Zach, and boy, oh boy, do I have a story for you. Now, picture this, a lush green forest where the trees whisper secrets and the animals. Well, they're not quite what you'd expect. Our story begins with a fox, but not just any fox, oh no. This fox was the self-proclaimed genius of the forest, the Einstein of the animal world, if you will. He thought he had it all figured out, every nook and cranny of the forest mapped in that furry little head of his. But oh, my dear listeners, how wrong he was. For you see, on this particular day, our foxy friend was about to meet his match. And trust me, you won't believe who it is. So there he was, strutting through the forest like he owned the place, his bushy tail swishing with each step. And who should he come across but a humble little hare, munching on some carrots. Now, let me do my best fox impression here. Hem. In a sly, smooth voice. Well, 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 what do we have here? If it isn't my old friend, the hare. Say, how about we play a little game? The hare, not one to be easily intimidated, looked up from his carrot. And here's where things get interesting, folks. Because this hare, oh ho ho, he wasn't your average bunny. No siree. In a cool, collected voice. A game, you say? And what's in it for me, Mr. Fox? Our foxy friend, thinking he had this in the bag, decided to up the ante. Back to the sly voice. Oh, nothing much. Just your entire food stash for a week if I win. But don't worry your fluffy little tail about it. You won't win anyway. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone tried to take my snacks for a week, I'd be hopping mad. But our hare friend, cool as a cucumber. Cool voice. And if I win this little game of yours? The fox, barely able to contain his laughter, replied, sly voice. Tell you what, if by some miracle you win, I'll be your personal servant for an entire day. How's that sound? Oh, but wait! Just when you thought things couldn't get any more interesting, the hare dropped a bombshell that would make even the wiliest of foxes think twice. Cool voice. Deal. But let's make this really interesting, shall we? If I win, not only do I get you as my servant, but you have to tell the entire forest that I, the humble hare, outsmarted the great and mighty fox. Ooh, can you feel the tension? I can. And I'm just narrating this story. Our foxy friend, blinded by his own ego, agreed without a second thought. But little did he know, he was walking right into a trap of his own making. Now, I know what you're thinking. Zany Zach, how could the fox possibly lose? He's the smartest animal in the forest. Well, my curious friends, that's where things get really juicy. You see, our fox had a few tricks up his sleeve. Or he would if foxes wore sleeves, but you get the idea. He was planning to manipulate the game, to ensure he always came out on top. Classic fox move, am I right? So they set off on their battle of wits. Riddles were told, puzzles were solved, and challenges were met. And at every turn, the fox seemed to have the upper hand. He'd twist words, find loopholes, and use every trick in the book to stay ahead. Sly voice. Oh dear hare, you really thought you could outsmart me with that riddle. Please, I solved that one before you even finished asking it. But our hare friend, cool as ever. Cool voice. We'll see, Mr. Fox, we'll see. Now, picture this. The whole forest had gathered to watch this epic showdown. Squirrels perched on branches, birds stopped mid-flight. Even the old grumpy bear came out of his cave to see what all the fuss was about. The tension was so thick you could cut it with with a fox's claw, I suppose. As the final challenge approached, the fox was practically gloating. He could almost taste victory, and all that delicious food he was going to win from the hare. But then, something unexpected happened. The hare, with a twinkle in his eye that would make a star jealous, said, cool voice. All right, Mr. Fox, for the final challenge, let's see if you can escape my puzzle. Now, folks, I wish you could have seen the look on that fox's face. It was a mixture of amusement and confusion, like someone had just told him that carrots were actually orange fish swimming in the ground. Sly, but slightly nervous voice. Ha! A puzzle? Please. I know every trick in the book, every riddle ever told, every puzzle ever created. Bring it on, Fluffball. Oh, how the mighty fall. As our foxy friend tried to solve the puzzle, something strange started happening. The more he tried, the more confused he became. It was like watching someone try to eat soup with a fork, amusing, but also a little sad. Increasingly panicked, sly voice. Wait, no, that's not right. Maybe if I... No, that doesn't work either. How about... Argh! The hare, cool as ever, just watched with a small smile. Cool voice. What's wrong, Mr. Fox? Out of ideas already? And here I thought you were the smartest animal in the forest. The fox's tail drooped, his ears flattened against his head. He looked around at all the animals watching, waiting. He could feel their eyes on him, could almost hear their thoughts. The great fox, outsmarted, impossible! But it had happened. With a heavy sigh and a bruised ego, the fox admitted defeat. Dejected, sly voice. Fine, you win, hare. You outsmarted me. A gasp went through the crowd. Birds fell off their perches in shock. The old grumpy bear's jaw dropped so far, it almost hit the forest floor. The fox, the smartest animal in the forest, had been beaten. But wait, just as the fox was about to fulfill his end of the bargain and announce to the whole forest that he'd been outsmarted, something incredible happened. The hare disappeared. That's right, folks. Poof! Gone. Vanished into thin air like my Aunt Mildred's famous disappearing pie. Seriously. Where does she hide those things? The animals looked around in confusion. Where did the hare go? How did he just vanish? And more importantly, was he ever really there to begin with? And so, my dear listeners, we come to the end of our tale. The fox, once so sure of his intellect, now questioning everything he thought he knew. The forest animals, buzzing with excitement and confusion, and the mysterious hare. Well, who knows? But let me ask you this. Was it all just a trick? A clever illusion by the fox to test the other animals, or was there more to that humble hare than met the eye? As for me, well, I'm just the narrator. But I will say this. In a world of foxes, sometimes it pays to be a hare. Or does it? Chuckles mysteriously. Until next time, this is Zany Zach, reminding you to always keep your wits about you, because you never know when you might need them. Good night, folks.